Laker Nation, this championship is special, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. There is no asterisk next to this title. This is a team that was essentially put together at the last minute after getting finessed by Kawhi, and having nothing but free agent leftovers remaining to piece together a roster. And oh, by the way, we had to do this with the GM and Rob Pelinka, whose reputation was getting tarnished, and just about anyone and everyone was taking shots at him, especially after the way Magic blamed him after quitting his role as team president. And oh, by the way, it was with an entirely new coaching staff from top to bottom. And oh, by the way, we just so happened to earn the number 1 seed while others lauded the Clippers as the smart load managing team that would have the easier time in the playoffs. And this is the team that the media kept crowning as LA's best team without accomplishing a damn thing. People also forget how important Avery Bradley was to this Lakers team. And then he opts out. That's supposed to be the backbreaker, right? Nope. Next man up for the Lakers. And what do you know? Thanks to a decision made by LeBron James 2 years ago, we're back on track. We're now tied with the Celtics at 17 championships, and order has been restored in the world of basketball. And don't let a Celtics fan like Bill Simmons try to convince you that this is only the Lakers' 12th title because they won 5 in Minneapolis. Those were still won as the Laker franchise. And if you want to get into semantics, Celtics fans, well, then let's get real here. Your dominance is pretty much prehistoric, whereas the Lakers have much more sustained success throughout decades. And 1986, that was the last year of tape-delayed NBA playoff games. So let's look at how you guys have been doing since 1987. Because the Lakers, well, we've been to the finals 12 times with 8 championships, whereas the Celtics have only been to the finals twice in that time period, with 1 win in 2008 against a banged-up Lakers team that, by the way, had just acquired Powell that offseason. In that trade deadline. So not only is that the case, but then now let's look at 2020. Your chance at a finals trip was ruined by a Heat team that the Lakers absolutely dismantled. And oh, by the way, your GM, Danny Ainge, yeah, he had a chance at trading for Anthony Davis. Instead, he insisted on keeping the same roster, stockpiling on these picks and assets. For what, just to not make it to the finals again? How's that been treating you? And I don't want to hear anything from anybody else saying like, oh, being in a big market is what saves the Lakers, keeps them afloat and in championship contention. Because, oh, really? What about the Knicks? They're in New York. What about the Clippers? They're in LA too. Why can't they get out of the second round? It's the Laker brand that did this. It's the Lakers hitting on their draft picks. It's the Lakers clearing up the cap space to get LeBron and then having the right moves to go get Anthony Davis. LeBron came here in mind knowing that this is the most iconic franchise in all of basketball. Now, sure, he might have had entrepreneurial pursuits on his mind, and yes, his family wanted to come here too. But last year, I won't forget that you guys were saying this. The narrative was that it was LA Bron, and he was checked out and in media mogul mode. Well, what people forget is that the Lakers were doing just fine with Bron, and the kids were in 4th place with him and LeBron until he got hurt on Christmas Day. And now look at where we are now, just over a year later. The vision has always been bigger than the bigger picture. Now, if it didn't feel real that LeBron was one of ours before, he's definitely showed us why now. Everything LeBron has done while here in LA has shown unselfishness and a commitment to Laker Nation. This one championship, it's just a start of something special because prime Anthony Davis is the perfect teammate for LeBron to age gracefully next to. I mean, with AD, LeBron can settle into a late career role as a big playmaking point guard with an improving jump shot and a stronger role as a post-up scorer. The sky is really the limit for what is easily now the league's best duo since Kobe and Shaq. And the Laker championship legacy, it's always been built on the shoulders of Hall of Fame dynamic duos like Kobe and Shaq, Kobe and Powell, Magic and Kareem, West and Wilt. LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're now just scratching the surface of what they can accomplish together. So we know LeBron isn't done yet. But even if he never wins another championship with the Lakers again, it wouldn't matter because in just over 140 games, LeBron has already done enough to get his purple and gold number 23 jersey sealed and clinched into a spot in the rafters at Staples Center. And before you call me crazy, let's just look at him and Wilt Chamberlain side by side. Because by joining the Lakers at the end of his career, LeBron pretty much set up his legacy as a Laker to be like that of Wilt's. It took one finals win in 5 years for the legendary Wilt Chamberlain to get his number 13 retired by the Lakers. But the emotional toll of this championship, just the feeling and connection that the city has with this one in particular, this ring, it carries significantly more weight than Wilt's did, especially when you consider the fact that Wilt's path to a title, well, it was a lot clearer having joined a contending team with a roster that already featured Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. So yeah, LeBron, he's got to wait for Powell, who's going to get his number 16 jersey in the rafters. He definitely deserves that first. But LeBron has already clinched his spot in line after him. And now, LeBron's 15 years as a rival player in Cleveland and Miami means, yeah, he's not going to get the same kind of love and adoration that Magic and Kobe earned being lifelong Lakers. But he is forever immortalized as one of ours. And to number 23, I say this. You re-energized a legacy franchise in disarray, full of diehards like me who booed you for years. And preaching patience, you turned things around and brought the game's best big man in Anthony Davis to Los Angeles. And in the face of unspeakable tragedy with the loss of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi, LeBron, what you did in a year that we needed you and your steady leadership more than ever is something we're going to forever be grateful for. So LeBron, Laker Nation thanks you so much for this title.